All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Kedro Coffee Chats. I have with me Elijah Ko, technical designer in the team. And so today he's going to walk us through the survey results of the survey that we circulated earlier this year about Kedro 1.0. So before we start, just a very brief introduction. Remember that these coffee chats are presentations in which we demo something about Kedro or something we've been working on or give some update to the community. And then we leave ample time for anybody to ask any questions you might have. So please have your questions ready so that we can ask them to Elijah when he's done. And that is it. Without further ado, Elijah, the floor is yours.
Amazing. Hello, everyone. My name is Elijah. I'm the technical designer of Kedro. So earlier this year, one of our primary goals is to stabilize Kedro in its current state and release a 1.0.0 version. So before we do so, we actually want to ensure it meets the expectation and the needs of our users. So next slide. So first of all, let's start with a quick snapshot, of the community's experience with Kedro. So out of 55 total responses, which is actually the largest group. Next slide as well. So we have garnered around 55 total responses, and among them, the largest group, around 38%, have been using Kedro for 1 to 3 years, showing that many of our users are now passing the initial onboarding phase and are building more mature pipelines. Closely following are users with over 3 years of experience at 35%, which is a strong indicator of long-term adoption and trust in our framework. So we also have a healthy number of new users. 15% have been using Kedro between 6 months and a year, and 13% for less than 6 months. So it is encouraging to see a steady growth and interest from new developers as well as the teams as well. Next slide. So as part of the survey, we actually asked our community to tell us which Kedro features they find most valuable. And we actually focus on 5 core areas. The first one is the project template, which is the standardized, modifiable structure that helps the team to get started quickly with the best practices. And the next one is data catalog, which is Kedro's flexible way to manage data and model input and output across the file systems and cloud environments. We also have a pipeline abstraction, which is an automatic dependency resolution between functions and visual pipeline mapping using our Kedro Viz. Coming next is coding standard, which include built-in support for testing, linting, documentation, and logging, which all aligned with the Pythonic conventions. And finally, we have a flexible deployment, which is supporting a wide variety of strategies from local to distributed setup across, for example, Argo, Kubeflow, Databricks, etc. So next slide, please. And when it comes to what people value the most about Kedro, the data catalog stands out. Nearly 89%, of the respondents listed it as one of their top features. And that's not surprising, considering how central it is for managing data inputs and output in a clean and declarative way. Next is the pipeline abstraction, with 82% appreciating how Kedro automatically resolves dependencies between functions and help visualize them with Kedro Viz. Coding standards and the project template follows at 69% and 64% respectively. And these features are helping our teams and users' teams to maintain a high code quality and consistency across projects. And finally, we have a flexible deployment was highlighted by 49%. And while it is actually slightly lower than the rest, it is still significant. And this reflects, the great importance of running Kedro in a diverse environment like Databricks, Kubeflow, or Argo. So together, we see that these results show that Kedro is not just like a pipeline tool, but it is also an ecosystem that helps to support quality, modularity, and scalability across a full development lifecycle. Next slide, please. Next, now let's talk about where the community they want to see Kedro grow. Now we asked, are there actually missing features or improvements that you would like to see in Kedro 1.0? And the response was clear. So out of the 55 respondents, 64% of them, they say yes, and they submit a total of 52 feature requests. Next slide, please. And yes, so here you see 52 requests, and next slide. So we categorize the feedback into 10 key areas: pipeline workflow enhancement, data management and catalog, AI and ML experimentation, performance and resource management, visualization and monitoring, parameterization and configuration, deployment and integration, usability, compliance and observability, as well as others. So let's take a look at the next slide. Now let's take a look. One of the most requested areas for improvement in Kedro 1.0 is the pipeline and workflow enhancement. With several users, they're asking for more flexibility and control in how pipelines are constructed and executed. Now, our users, they're looking for conditional execution, such as nodes that behave like a switch, automatically selecting which function to run based on a parameter's value. This could actually greatly simplify a complex branching logic. And there is also a desire to customize execution order without needing awkward workaround and relying solely on data dependencies. Some users, they want to redefine node ordering manually or apply logic operators for dynamic branching. Another theme is parameterized pipelines, like choosing pre-processing steps dynamically at runtime, as well as support for the asynchronous execution of nodes and datasets. Now, advanced users, they also request a dynamic pipeline handling with reports of with support of partitioning, runtime parameter logging, and validation schemes, which is especially useful in the MLOps setting. Finally, there is an interest in excluding nodes from execution without modifying the pipeline structures, better multi-processing support, and more flexible hooks to extend Kedro's behavior at runtime. So these suggestions point to a common goal, which makes Kedro a smarter, more dynamic, and more adaptable to the real-world workflows. Next slide, please. Now, another key area. Yes, this one. Now, another key area which users, they're asking for improvements is the data management and Kedro catalog. So a frequent request is for database-centric pipelines, specifically support for upsert and merge operations, allowing seamless integration with modern data warehouses. Now, users, they also want support for more dataset types, including, for example, polars, viaducts, iceberg, data tables, which reflects a growing diversity of data processing tools. Some responses flagged issues with data factory system in the catalog that could use refinements to make dataset registration more intuitive. And there is also a call of schema-based data validations to catch error earlier and enforce consistency across the dataset. From a usability angle, the users, they also want a cleaner way to pass the parameters to datasets, especially when they rely on output from the previous node. And this includes passing output directly into the SQL queries without extra plumbing. So other suggestions also include providing guidelines for custom dataset creations, reduce the current dependencies on file path, which can be restrictive in some of the cloud-native and metadata-driven environments. Next one, please. Now, in the area of AI and ML experimentation, we actually received several forward-looking suggestions. Now, topping the list is the LLM integration, which reflects the growing demand of Kedro to support the large language model workflows. And there is also a strong interest in the turnkey Kedro MLflow template, making experiment tracking and model lifecycle management much easier out of the box. Another request is the support for model cards, which enable automatic updates of standardized documentation for trained models, which is helpful for the transparency and governance. Users, they also want to bridge the gap between the experimentation and operational platforms, improving handoff from research to production. Finally, there is a curiosity around supporting agentic AI frameworks like LangGraph or LangFlow, so pointing towards a bit more complex and multi-step reasoning workflow. So this idea, it actually showcases the users they want Kedro to remain relevant and as powerful as we see nowadays the AI landscape and the toolings they keep evolving. Next slide, please. Now, in the category of performance and resource management, users they highlight several Kedro ways could better support a high efficiency workload. Now, one request is the memory profiling, allowing teams to identify and optimize resource-intensive parts of the pipeline. And there is also a growing interest in GPU computation support within nodes, which would be helpful, for the team working on a deep learning or simulation-heavy tasks. Now, speaking of simulations, users they also want to incorporate lightweight and CPU and GPU heavy simulators directly into pipelines. Now, some asked for a lightweight session support to reduce latency and improve handling of long-running pipelines. And finally, there is a simple but important ask, which is a faster startup times, especially when integrating frequently during development. Next slide, please. And in the area of visualization and monitoring, users are asking for better insight into what is happening inside their pipelines. Now, top of the list is real-time visualizations of pipeline runs, enable teams to track progress live, and there is also demand for drift monitoring compatibility and richer pipeline debugging tools. Now, several users they also ask for better node and line placement in Kedro for clarity and for tighter integrations with MLflow servers to back experiment tracking. Next slide. Now, in the area of parameterization and configuration, users are asking for a smoother developer experience. Now, they want easier logging configuration to simplify their observability and support for UV as project management tools, which is alongside our current suggestions, pip and conda. And finally, there is a demand for the easier access to parameters, especially when customizing pipelines across environment. So next slide. In the deployment and integration category, now users they want Kedro to fit more naturally into modern orchestration and cloud workflows. One of the requests is the ability to convert Kedro DAGs into tasks for orchestrators like Airflow or Argo. They are also asking for deployment best practice tailored to major cloud platforms and tools to streamline Kedro pipeline deployment, especially with the support for conditional logic. Next slide. And in terms of usability, two key requests stood out. The first one, users they want more support for custom functions, giving them more freedom to tailor Kedro without overriding the core behaviors. Second, there is a growing demand for monorepo and nested repo support, so as to better align with large-scale enterprise development workflows. Next one, please. And in the area of compliance and observability, now users they are looking for more robust integration to meet enterprise standards. Now they have requested support for open telemetry to enhance pipeline observability and open lineage for end-to-end data lineage leakage. Additionally, there is also a growing interest in terms of regulatory needs with a call for this EU AI Act compliance. Next slide. And in the others category, we saw actually some of the unique suggestions, and these include support of Marimo, a reactive Python notebook, offline project template for improved the portability, and a request to clean up the documentation by removing the private variables. Next slide. So with all these, we actually received 33 thoughtful responses, to the questions. What would make Kedro 1.0 a success for you? And the feedback points to actually 7 key focuses areas, which is the pipeline architecture and scalability, AI and MLOps platform integration, developer experience, documentation and learning, community growth, dataset support and scalability, stability, and compatibility. So let's take a look of the first one. Now, for Kedro 1.0 to be truly successful, our users emphasized the importance of a robust pipeline architecture and scalability. Success, which means being able to scale up to large, complex projects while maintaining clean, modular design principles. It also includes exporting pipelines with their dependencies, enabling smooth deployments across environments and teams. A successful Cadro also supports dynamic pipelines that can adapt a runtime and helping teams to move beyond static workflows. And at the same time, having the options to simplify or exclude pipeline abstraction, which offers flexibility for lightweight or custom setups. And finally, true scalability from our users, they view that, which means supporting more than just stacks, allowing for more iterative, recursive, or graph-based workflows that better reflect the real-world experimentation. Next slide. Now, a key success factor for also Kedro 1.0, another one is the seamless integration with the AI and the MLOps platforms. Now, our users, they're actually looking for a tight coupling with tools across both the traditional ML and the emerging LLM ops stacks. They also emphasize, all batteries included philosophies, where Kedro ships with rich practical defaults, that can reduce frictions for new users. And a diverse dataset portfolios is seen as a magnet for adoption, making it easier to get started with real-world examples. Additionally, there is a desire for agentic AI support, like integrations with on-chain or LangGraph to support a multi-step reasoning workflows. And finally, a highly extensible core is important. So Kedro can act as the foundation for teams to plug into a broader tool chains across experimentation, monitoring, and model deployment. Next one, please. And for many users, developer experience is actually a make or break factors. Now that starts with an excellent IDE support, particularly in tools like VS Code, where our users, they want everything from import suggestions to seamless Kedro fits integration to just work. They also call for a removal of a band-aid fixes, like patchy logging setups in favor of a clean and maintainable defaults. Now, tools like UV for dependency management are highly popular, so making it a default could boost ease of setup. And fixing core issues like catalog factory errors to ensure the Kedro VS Code extension is reliable and helpful is also the key. And finally, there is some excitement around interactivity, whether it is moving the nodes visually in Kedro Vits or speeding up the development loops, with smarter extension features. Next slide, please. Now, another major success factors, for the 1.0 is a clear and accessible documentation. And our users, they want a better understanding of Kedro's core components with guidance that supports both onboarding for new users and a practical use case for the experienced users. And they emphasize the need for structured examples, fewer assumptions, and documentations that can truly explain not just only the how, but also the why. Next slide. Here we look at expanding and energizing the users community for 1.0, which means driving the user base growth, engagement, and also refining Kedro's guardrails and flexibility to attract more users and also include advanced developers. And there is also support for boosting visibility, which is the current way we are practicing via the GitHub stars, reaching other platforms like LinkedIn, Reddit, or maybe TechCrunch. Next slide, please. Now, users, they also highlight the need for a robust, scalable dataset support as a success factors. And this includes a stable integration with data tables, PySparks, allowing a high volume distributed data work. And they also emphasize the importance of speed and performance, particularly for large or complex data loads. And finally, support for multiprocessing with a geospatial dataset is also seen as important for unlocking more advanced analytic workflows. Next slide, please. Now, finally, we have users. They also ask for a strong API stability with no surprises between the versions. And equal importance is also being laid on backward compatibility, allowing Kedro projects that is built on the 1.0 versions to continue running without any major rewrites. So next slide. This is also a final slide. Now, as we actually look ahead to the Kedro 1.0, it is actually exciting to see, as you can see the graph over here, there are actually many familiar features that makes strong return. Some of our old friends like custom node ordering, data validations, and also UV, which is being carried forward, as default project dependencies to streamline the development. So what's even more exciting is seeing how Kedro is adapting to the new frontiers like Gen AI or the LLM ops and modern integrations. And this is a sign, of a platform that listens, evolves, and capture the opportunities as they emerge. But we all want to, highlight, one thing is, if one thing that you can take away is, this is just only the beginning. The momentum of the Kedro development, we will not stop just only at 1.0. And we are committed to carry these ideas that you have given to us forward in our post and beyond 1.0 development, which helps us to continue to build on what you have asked for and expanding Kedro roles in the future of data and AI toolings. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Elijah, for this walkthrough. So I'm going to see if we have any comments left from the audience. But in the meantime, I wanted to ask you, what are you personally most excited from a design perspective or the user perspective for the upcoming 1.0?
Yeah, I think first of all, from the design perspective, one of the things that is how to get our users and especially new users to get on board, how to reduce the learning curve as much as possible. And this might looking at how do we revamp the way how we present Kedro first, or can we leverage some of the toolings in the emerging Gen AI landscapes that can help to reduce this learning curve to our new users, to get them on board as soon as possible. So I think this is actually pretty exciting.
Amazing, thank you. So let me give a few more seconds for our audience to send the question. If there's nothing else, then okay, we're gonna leave the streaming here. So thanks a lot, Elijah, again. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and enable the notifications to get a chance to watch us again. And see you next time.
Thank you very much. See you next time.